Let's take a look at some of the topics on homework number 6. So the first one is to complete the square with either an even or an odd value in the b position of your standard form equation. So when you're completing the square, don't forget that you have to move this c value over to the right-hand side. That would give us x squared minus 3x, big empty space, equals negative 12. And so for us, half of b, right, this is our b value, so half of b squared, half of b and then square it, is going to be the number in this position. So I already know that I have here I have an odd value, so half of 3 is going to be 1.5, but don't forget that you have to square that, right? So 3 halves squared, or 1.5 squared, let's take a look at what we get here. 1.5 squared will be 2.25. So I'm actually going to add 2.25 to both sides, 2.25. And I'm going to add 2.25 to this side. I know my marker's a little wacky right now, but that's okay. So when I complete the square, when I square root this and I square root the first, I get x minus 1.5. And then over here, I get negative 12 plus 2.25, which is actually going to give me a negative 9.75. So that's how they got these numbers at the end here, negative 9.75. And another important piece is whatever the sign in the middle is, that's what the sign of your answer has to be. So I automatically know these two were out. I automatically know those two are out. And because I was adding 2.25 to both sides, that's going to give me this one as my final answer. So let's take a look. We're going to click here and submit it. And yes, we did it. All right. So again, the first thing you can do is identify that the middle value here is a negative. So that's out and that's out. Okay, so it looks like I don't even need to do the math. I know it's going to be 5.5. But remember, you're adding that to both sides. You're adding the square of that. So x squared minus 11x equals negative 20, right? Because I moved this 13 over. And then when I did half of 11, half of that squared, right? When I did 5.5 squared, that's what I'm adding to both sides. So I'm going to do 5.5 squared. So I'm actually going to add 30.25 over here. I'm actually going to add 30.25. But negative 20 and 30.25 is going to be a positive 10.5. So that makes this one the winner. That makes sense. All right, let's take a look at the second topic. Second topic is using the quadratic formula with irrational values. And this one says real solutions in simplest form. So that means they're going to want me to leave my radical signs. So let's see what we got here. This one seems a little involved. So instead of using this wacky marker, I'm going to take a screenshot here. And let's put it right here. All right, so first things first, get this thing in standard form. So I'm going to get 3n squared plus 10n plus 5 equals 0. My a is 3, my b is 10, and my c is 5. Get my quadratic formula ready. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now again, if it wants it in simplest form, I'm just going to compute the discriminant here, right? That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to leave everything else the same. That's going to be a 6. And now let's do this. 100 minus, let's see, 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 3 is 60. 100 minus 60. All right, now, I don't even trust myself. I need to do this on the calculator. So here we go, just to be sure. We've got 10 squared minus 4 parentheses 3, parentheses 5. Let's just be sure. It's better to be safe than sorry. Yes, 40 it is. So that's 4 times 10. Right? 40 is 4 times 10. 4 is a perfect square. 10 is not. So it looks like my answer is going to be negative 10 plus or minus 2 square roots of 10 over 6. And this can be reduced by 2. I'm going to get 5. And this I'm going to get 1. And this I'm going to get 3. So technically my answer is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 10 all over 3. Negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 10 all over 3. Now, how do you type that into delta math? Well, let's see. I think I might need parentheses here. Negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 10. Now I'm going to come outside and put my divide by, oh, that's beautiful. There we go. Let's see if we got it right. Oh man, I'm nervous. Yes. Yes, perfect. All right, let's try it one more time, right? So you have your standard form equation here. So A is 3, B is 6, C is 1. Should we take a real quick screenshot and give this a try? Let's see. So this time I have A is 3, B is 6, C is 1, and negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So negative 6 plus or minus 36 minus 12 is 24 all over 6. And then this is 4 times 6. That's this perfect square. That's not. So let's see. I've got negative 6 plus or minus 2 square roots of 6 all over 6. Divide this. Ooh, this is an interesting one. 6 can be divided by 6, but 2 cannot. So I need to split this. Let me just need to split this here. So this is what I mean by split this. Because this is going to give me a negative 1. But this is still going to have a fraction. Plus or minus 1/3 the square root of 6. Also known as square root of 6 over 3. So this part has a fraction, but this part does not. Let's see if we can, see if we can type that in properly. Negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 6. I know you want to reduce these, but remember, radical numbers cannot be reduced by free numbers, right? So let's see if we can get this right. Negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 6 to, didn't mean to do that. Divided by, nope, didn't mean to do that either. Arrow over, divided by 3. Oh boy, I don't know. Yes, we did it. All right, so that's how you type it in. The third one is some old information, and if you are signed up to take the Reasons exam, you definitely want to be practicing these skills. So the solution to a system can be found using substitution, elimination, or graphing. I think I'm going to solve this one using elimination because it's pretty quick for me. Elimination is one of my favorite methods. You don't have to use it. You can certainly use substitution or a graphing calculator. I'm going to multiply everybody up here by 7. Giving me 28x minus 7y equals 15 times 7, which I don't know. 105. And this is 8x plus 7y equals negative 33. And so I get here 36. 105 minus 33. I get 72. And that divided by 36, I believe is 2. Yep. So x is 2. Then I go back and I steal one of these original sentences. I'm going to do this one. 8x plus 7y equals negative 33. I'm going to replace the letter x with the number 2. 16 plus 7y equals negative 33. I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. Negative 33 minus 16 is 7y equals negative 49. Divide both sides by 7. All right, so there's my answers. 2 and negative 7. Go back. X is 2, y is negative, X is 2, y is negative 7, and submit. There you go. Oh, they chose to cancel out their x's. So, same. They used a different method, but we both got the same. I mean, they chose to eliminate a different variable first, but we both got the same answers. All right, next one is solve a system of equations in context, which means that you have to read the word problem and create the two equations yourself. So let's see. Read carefully. A summer camp is organizing a hike and needs to buy granola bars for the campers. Granola bars come in small boxes and large boxes, so there's my variables. S for small, or X for small, and Y for large, right, if you want to use X and Y. Each small box has 6 granola bars and each large box has 18. The camp bought a total of 11 boxes. All right, so they bought 11 boxes of these kinds of items. Small boxes and large boxes were 11 boxes. But they had a total of 102 granola bars. So that's when we have to write a sentence with quantity. So 6 for the small and 18 for the large. Now for this one, I think I'm going to use substitution instead. So x is equal to 11 minus y if I rearrange that. And that means I can plug this into here. So 6 times 11 minus y plus 18y equals 102. Or 66 minus 6y plus 18y equals 102. Or 66 plus 12y equals 102. So 12y equals 102 minus 66. 36, so y equals 3. So that's the large boxes. So 3 large boxes of granola. And if I have to have 11, then that means I have 8 small boxes of granola. So 8 small, 3 large. That's how I translated 8 small, 3 large. I'm going to double check. Small is 8, large is 3. Okay. Yes, we did it. Okay, and the last one is average rate of change from a graph. Now, be careful because average rate of change is calculated by starting and stopping at these particular values. So, all right, so when you're calculating the average rate of change, you need to be aware of your starting and ending points. So these are your x values in your table. Now what you need to find are the y values for those coordinates. So 0 is negative 60, and y for 1 would be negative 20. And some of you will use this value, some of you will use the actual formula if you need to write it out the long way, but it is y minus y over x minus x. So y2 is 20 minus y1 is 60, and x2 is 1 and x1 is 0. So let's see, we're going to get 40 over 1, which makes sense because it goes up 10, 20, 30, 40 over 1, right? It goes rise over run. So those are all the ways you can calculate the average rate of change. 40 over 1. So we'll put that in here. The answer is 40. There you go. And that is how you complete homework number 6.